Sports can bring out the best and the worst in a person, not just the people playing the sport, but also the fans. It can serve as a motivation for some young kids to take up the sport, and a little push from their heroes can go a long, long way. That's exactly what happened with Zizou. Let's take a closer look, starting with the clever Zizou question. If you've somehow missed the video doing the rounds on social media recently of Roger Federer and a young tennis player called Zizou, then allow us to explain the entire story. As Federer geared up for the U.S. Open, there was an open session where some extremely lucky kids could ask him a question. We've been Federer fans for as long as we can remember, so we actually recall watching the video, not because of the pinky promise in question, but because of the first question that Zizou asked. Zizou was given the opportunity to ask Federer a question, and credit to him for phrasing the question in such a way that even Federer was caught off guard. He started his question by asking about Switzerland and how it's really cold in Federer's home country. The legend replied by saying it's not always, but the kid had already set up the trap and FedEx was already halfway from falling into it. Then after performing the first two acts of his magic trick from the Prestige, Zizou delivered the final act and asked how there isn't too much livestock, so why do they call you the GOAT? Incredibly put question, and no wonder it stuck with Federer and all the fans who watched the adorable video. Somehow Roger, in an even more adorable fashion, replied to Zizou, red-faced and off guard, that some fans call him that, but he doesn't call himself that. Yeah, Roger, you can act humble all you want, but we all know you are the GOAT. Then Zizou's serious question. The confidence in this kid. Simply incredible. Yeah, he knew the first one was for laughs, and he got them, not just from the other reporters and people in the room, but also from the GOAT. Zizou went on to ask another question and explained how this one is a serious question, again bringing about laughs and interest from Federer. One thing for sure, he caught Federer's eye, and he wasn't forgetting this interaction anytime soon. Once again, credit to Zizou for the way he asked the question, as he explained to Federer how the Swiss maestro has been the most consistent player of all time, and then went on to put in an adorable request. Can you please continue to play for 8-9 years, so I can play you when I go pro? The entire room lost it, and even Federer laughed and admired the way Zizou asked him for this. But Federer isn't second to anyone in anything, and he replied in the most Federer way possible, saying that if Zizou makes it to the tour, he'll come back if necessary to play him. Ah, what a man! But Zizou wasn't letting go of this fantastic opportunity that easily, and double-checked by asking Federer if that was a promise. Roger laughed and pondered for a second before saying that it was almost a promise, a pinky promise. Nah, we'd die happy if we'd just gotten the opportunity to ask the question, let alone what followed the interaction. Next, Federer follows up on promise. Roger Federer could have easily decided to forget about this interaction. After all, he runs into fans all the time, considering just how big a star he is. But when you're Federer, you do things differently, and that's actually what separates you from the other superstars. 5 years on from the adorable interaction, Zizou probably would have forgotten about the interaction, but the Swiss maestro definitely didn't. He may not have as strong a claim in the GOAT discussion half a decade later either, but for us, he will always be that much. A lot changed in the last 5 years, but Federer's humbleness and follow-up on the promise certainly weren't one of them. Collaborating with Barilla, Federer planned a fantastic surprise for Zizou with the help of his coach. The young star was in Zurich to train with his coach when they decided to have a quick lunch, and he was surprised because the waiter knew his name and was extra hospitable to the duo. Things took an even crazier turn for Zizou, who had no idea what was in store for him, as the waiter claimed that his boss was a huge fan of the kid. And if she could take a picture with Zizou, the kiddo, a little bit embarrassed with the extra attention, took a picture with the chef, who even unveiled a shirt with Zizou's picture. Federer was obviously going all in with the surprise, and he nailed it. You're good, Zizou. The maestro's just the best. And the big surprise, unknown to the young kid, Federer was watching everything from behind the scenes and laughing along with the crew members because Zizou had no idea what was happening. During the picture session, suddenly a crowd of young kids gathered by the court and started yelling, Zizou, Zizou, Zizou. And Zizou was flabbergasted and could only wave, having no idea what was happening. While he was still getting used to his VIP treatment, the waiter set up a big surprise in the best way possible, saying that the fans were in attendance to watch Zizou play a match, finally, against a worthy opponent, as Roger Federer emerged from behind the scenes to surprise Zizou. Ah, what an incredible moment it must have been. We're so happy watching the video, and while we wish it were us, rather than Zizou, it was still a beautiful moment to witness. A speechless Zizou was embraced by the GOAT, and, as promised, Federer went on to play a match against against a kid whom he made a promise to all those years ago. It might be the only time in history that Federer didn't have more support than his opponent, but we don't think he'll mind that too much. We're not sure who won, as it wasn't revealed, but we're pretty sure that doesn't matter. It was a clay court, and Federer was caught on camera praising the young talent for playing solid and great. What a story. What a man. What a lucky, lucky kid. In other news, first up, Federer teams up with royalty. Kate Middleton is British royalty. The Duchess of Cambridge is about as grandiose as it gets on the biggest stage, but Roger Federer is no less. He's the king of Wimbledon, and he can probably pull a bigger crowd in England than the Duchess herself. But today, it's not about who's more regal. Rather, it's the news of the unlikely pairing of the Duchess and the GOAT for a day of tennis and charity as a mixed doubles team. Federer announced on his Twitter page that he'll be partnering with Kate Middleton to raise funds for two charities, Action for Children and the LTA Tennis Foundation. It'll be before Roger returns to competitive action, albeit in an exhibition tournament, the Laver Cup, although it's about as competitive as the next thing on the ATP Tour. The Duchess isn't a stranger to tennis courts, though, and it won't be just for show. She's a patron of the All England Club, and we've got no doubt that she'll be a worthy partner for the GOAT. Plus, if Zizou got the chance to play with his favorite player, why should the Duchess be denied that opportunity? Next, Roger steps up training. The Swiss maestro hasn't featured on the ATP Tour all season long and has been missing from action due to a knee injury. After having 3 operations on it, his return is finally around the corner. With just a month left before the Laver Cup action begins in the O2 Arena, the 41-year-old is stepping up the intensity of his training. He uploaded multiple videos on social media, and the forehand was looking as good as ever. If Federer is fit for the action, which we hope he will be, the Swiss maestro will be teaming up with the Big Four for Team Europe as they take on Team World. After the Laver Cup, Federer is expected to return to the ATP Tour by featuring in the Basel Open in his birth city in late October. He's without ranking points, but Federer, not to fret, Fed fans, he'll have plenty of wild cards and invitations to certain events. Lastly, Nadal claims Federer more technically gifted. Federer has been one of the most adorable love stories in tennis. They can act like their friendship is only friendship and they are rivals on the court, but we all know there's a tension in there, and it's more than just friendship. In the latest edition of their public flirting, Nadal has revealed that he always knew that Federer is more technically gifted than he is, but that has only allowed him to sharpen his own game. Nadal added that he watches Federer play on video sometimes, and he's amazed at how good he is. Just get a room, both of you. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Federer will be playing around the time when Zizou turns pro? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.